You don't need more motivation. You don't need another quote. You need a reset. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Because the pain is already here. The struggle is already happening. And discipline is the only way through it. Pain is the tax life demands for greatness. But discipline? Discipline is the currency that buys your freedom. You can scream, cry, break down, or you can stand up, tighten your fists, and walk through it like a warrior. This message is not meant to inspire you. It's meant to awaken something inside you. Something primal. Something buried beneath years of excuses, fear, and comfort. I'm not here to make you feel better. I'm here to remind you who you are when nothing feels good. When your body aches. When your mind lies to you. When no one claps for your effort. That's where identity is forged. In silence. In repetition. In the darkness that no one else sees. That's where I lived. That's where I bled. And that's where I became. You think discipline is hard? Try living every day as a slave to your weakness. That's hell. You were not made to fold. You were not made to flinch. You were made to dominate your own chaos. You're not here to survive. You're here to command. This is not a motivational speech. This is a weapon, a tool, a map, a mirror. This is the version of yourself that refuses to die in mediocrity. I don't care if you're tired. I care if you move. I don't care if you're scared. I care if you show up anyway. I don't care how long it takes. I care that you don't quit. Every second you hesitate, your weakness gains ground. So stop negotiating with pain. Stop begging for comfort. Stop waiting for clarity. You move first. Discipline leads. Emotion follows. I wake up to train. I sleep to recover. I breathe to win. You want the crown? Bleed for it. You don't become the most feared man in the world by hitting harder. You become him by thinking sharper. Fighting isn't physical first, it's mental. It starts with how you speak to yourself when no one's around. It begins when the alarm hits at 4 a.m. and you rise without hesitation. It begins in the silence, in the grind, in the choice to move before your mind makes an excuse. When I trained, I didn't train to look good. I trained to break my opponent before he even touched me. Because once your mind is stronger than his, the fight's already over. You think it's about muscles, but muscle without mindset is decoration. It's soft. It folds. But the mind, when trained like a weapon, becomes lethal. I didn't just hit. I hunted. I stalked doubt like prey. I didn't let fear sit in my corner. I crushed it before the bell even rang. You want to rise? Kill your hesitation. Kill your comfort. Train your mind like you're preparing for war, because life doesn't care if you're ready. The fight comes anyway. Every day you're in the ring, not with people, but with your lesser self. That voice that whispers, you've done enough. That voice that says, take a break. That voice that tells you, you're tired. That's the opponent. That's the one you beat with discipline, not talent, not hype. Discipline. That's the difference. I saw fear in the eyes of grown men before I threw a single punch. Not because I was stronger, but because I was possessed. Possessed by focus, possessed by repetition, possessed by the belief that no one could outsuffer me. When you train like that, when you think like that, people feel it. Before the fight, I would stare through my opponents, not at them, through them. I was already walking through their excuses, already burying their fear beneath my silence, and you can do the same. Not in a ring, in your life, in your job, in your routine. You kill the weakness before it shows up. You destroy it in the cold hours. You prepare so violently with your discipline that the world bows to your will. And listen, that doesn't come from hype. That comes from choosing hard over easy. Choosing sweat over sleep. Choosing silence over validation. And doing it over and over again until it becomes who you are. There were no shortcuts, no cheat codes, just war. Internal war. A war I never stopped fighting, and neither should you. You don't rise by accident, you rise by design. And design comes from discipline. You build yourself like a fortress, one brick at a time. You train your mind to stop asking for relief, to stop seeking comfort, to stop playing soft. You stop negotiating. You stop explaining. You stop apologizing. You start building. You start repeating. You start becoming. That's the fight. That's the mentality. You don't flinch. You don't wait. You don't ask. You move. You execute. You dominate. Not just once. Daily. Hourly. Without permission. Without applause. The world doesn't owe you anything. But if you train like it does, you'll take everything you were built for. Discipline is not pain. It's control. And when you control the battlefield of your own mind, there is no opponent that can break you. I walk with purpose. I train for war. My mind is my weapon. My discipline is my armor. You want to change? Then face the truth. The enemy isn't out there. It's not the world. It's not the haters. It's not your past. It's you, the soft version of you, the one that makes excuses, the one that justifies skipping the reps, the one that says not today. That version of you has to die. And no one can kill it but you. This isn't about discipline for show. This is about execution in silence. There's a voice in you that's been lying for years. It says, you're doing your best. It says, you've earned a break. It says, it's okay to stop now. That voice is comfort. That voice is weakness dressed in a whisper. I had to look mine in the eye. I had to stand in front of a mirror and see the fraud I was protecting. That version wanted to feel good. I wanted to win. That version wanted validation. I wanted domination. You can't have both. Either you comfort your weakness or you confront it. And I chose confrontation. I chose war. Not with others, with myself. Because deep down, I knew the truth. I wasn't losing to the world. I was losing to myself. I had to bury that man. The lazy one. The one who flinched. The one who needed approval. I buried him in sweat. In silence. In early mornings and lonely nights. And from that grave, I rose. Harder. Sharper. Cleaner. Not perfect, but forged. You have to kill what's holding you back. And what's holding you back is already inside. It's the part that delays. The part that hesitates. The part that breaks when things get heavy. That's the enemy. Not the pain. Not the fatigue. You. The version of you that's still tied to comfort. You say you want to evolve? Then take responsibility for the war inside your mind. Every day is a battle between the old you and the one you say you want to become. And guess what? One of them eats. One of them wins. You decide which one survives. I fought mine in the shadows. I fought when I didn't want to move. I fought when everything inside screamed for rest. I fought when nobody clapped. And the more I fought, the clearer it became. My enemy was weak. He wasn't evil. Just undisciplined. Just soft. Just used to getting his way. And when I stopped feeding him, he started dying. You want results? Starve your weakness. Starve your doubt. Starve your need for comfort. You don't need permission to rise. You don't need applause to push forward. You need war. Daily war. Inside. That's the fight that creates beasts. And I'll tell you something else. Most men avoid this war. They pretend they're fighting when really, they're making peace with mediocrity. Don't be that man. Don't negotiate with fear. Don't argue with weakness. Silence it. Replace it. Destroy it with action, with fire, with discipline. This war isn't glamorous. It's not filmed. No one posts it. But it changes everything. It rewires your brain. It rewrites your life. If you lose it, you live with regret. If you win it, you rise with power. So stop blaming the world. Stop blaming your past. Stand in the mirror and face your opponent. And then go to war. Every single day. Until that old version of you begs for mercy, and you don't give it. Because you're not here to comfort the past. You're here to create the future. I bury weakness. I breathe fire. I'm not at war with others. I'm at war with who I refuse to be. They only see the lights. They never see the silence. They see the wind, not the winter. They see the belt, not the blood. But let me tell you the truth. Everything I ever became, I became in isolation, alone. No noise, no crowd, no cameras. Just sweat, breath, and pain. People say they want greatness, but they fear solitude. They fear the quiet, because in the quiet, there's no distraction, just you. And that's where most men break. But that's where I built. I built in silence. I built in routine. I built in the same pair of worn-out gloves, throwing punches at shadows until my arms went numb. No applause, no validation, just obsession. I trained when I didn't want to. I moved when I had no energy. I focused when my mind screamed to quit. Because I knew something they didn't. Discipline grows best in darkness. Not when you're seen, when you're unseen. In isolation, there are no filters. No audience. You face your limits raw. And that's where the real work begins. That's where your character gets carved out. That's where weakness gets hunted down. In the early mornings when the city sleeps. In the late nights when your body wants to collapse. That's where your identity is sculpted. Not on stage, but in silence. You've got to learn to love the lonely hours. The repetition no one watches. The decisions no one understands. I was never afraid to be alone. I was afraid of being average. And if solitude was the price of power, I paid it gladly. Because in that silence, I heard my own hunger. I heard the voice no one else could hear. The voice that said, "You were made for more." Not made to scroll, not made to drift, made to dominate. But domination demands focus, and focus is born in isolation. You want to sharpen your mind, disconnect. You want to build endurance, withdraw. You want to hear your calling, turn off the noise. Get away from people who don't get it, people who live soft, people who applaud mediocrity. Cut it all. This journey isn't crowded. It's narrow, it's brutal, it's cold, and it's necessary. You think silence is boring? Then you haven't stayed in it long enough to find your power. In that silence, your mind resets. In that silence, your vision expands. In that silence, your soul aligns. The world moves fast. Distractions scream. But power whispers. Power doesn't beg to be seen. It grows in secret. And when it's ready, it doesn't announce itself. It shows up, unshakable, unstoppable, unapologetic. You can't fake that kind of strength. You earn it in the shadows. While others seek attention, you build discipline. While others chase dopamine, you chase truth. While others perform, you prepare. You don't need the crowd, you need the mirror. You don't need likes, you need consistency. You don't need noise, you need inner order. That's what isolation gives you. Structure, sharpness, self-respect. It's not a punishment, it's a gift. It strips away the shallow and leaves you with the sacred. So embrace the grind when no one's watching. Embrace the pain when no one claps. Embrace the silence when no one listens. That's when you become untouchable. Not loud, not flashy, just ready. When you train in isolation, you train for war. And when war comes, you won't flinch, because you already fought it in the dark. I train without applause. I rise without witnesses. In silence, I build the man the world will one day fear. You think falling breaks you? Falling doesn't break you. Staying down does. Everyone falls. But not everyone comes back. Most stay buried in the shame. Most get addicted to the comfort of defeat. They start calling failure their identity. But not you. You were built for the comeback. You were forged for the rise. Pain didn't come to destroy you. It came to ignite you. Every scar is a page. Every loss is a lesson. And every setback is a setup for domination, if you refuse to fold. I've been humiliated. I've been beaten. I've lost everything, even myself. But that version of me had to be crushed so something stronger could emerge. You don't get power from perfection. You get it from pain. from being dismantled and choosing to rebuild, from looking at the ruins and saying, "This isn't where I end." You rise when you bleed with purpose. You rise when you stop blaming and start building. You rise when you get tired of being soft. Most people avoid failure like a disease. But those who conquer themselves, they run into it, they let it break them, and then they reassemble themselves piece by piece, stronger, sharper, smarter. That's the comeback code. You don't recover the old you kill it, you bury it, and you build something new, something that doesn't break when it's alone, something that doesn't beg when it's tired, something that doesn't vanish when things go dark. The comeback isn't for the crowd. It's not a story for others. It's a reckoning for yourself. A reminder that discipline beats history, that present power beats past pain, that you are not what you lost, you are what you refuse to surrender. The world will try to reduce you to your lowest moment. Don't let them. Don't internalize the fall. Let it fuel the climb. You're not meant to relive the pain. You're meant to rise above it. There's a fire in your failure, but you've got to light it. You've got to choose to move when it hurts. Choose to believe when there's nothing left but breath. Choose to stand up again and again and again until the ground beneath you forgets you ever fell. Don't come back with noise. Come back with mastery. Come back with a mind sharper than before. Come back with steps so focused they silence every doubt. This isn't redemption through luck. It's through repetition, through discipline, through owning every inch of your fall and using it as foundation. I didn't rebuild because I felt like it. I rebuilt because I had no choice, because my name didn't matter if I didn't move, because legacy isn't given, it's earned every day you refuse to stay down. And the truth? No one's coming to save you. No one's going to pull you from the floor. If you want to rise, it's on you. Your comeback is your responsibility, and your discipline is the architect. So stop looking back. Start rising forward, step by step, punch by punch, breath by breath, until every inch of your failure is buried under your new identity. You don't rise because it's easy. You rise because it's necessary, because the alternative is decay. And you didn't come this far to rot. You came to reign. You came to rebuild a version of yourself that doesn't break again, because now you know what breaking feels like, and now you've got fire in your bones. I rise without asking. I rebuild without fear. My fall was my blueprint. My discipline is my revenge. You want to change your life? Change your rituals. Not once, not sometimes, daily. Because greatness isn't found in one loud moment. It's built in thousands of quiet ones. The beast isn't born in the spotlight. He's born in the routine, in the grind, in the boring, in the sacred. My mornings weren't about mood. They were about mission. I didn't ask myself how I felt. I asked myself what needed to be done. Cold water, empty stomach, full mind. Before the sun rose, I was already sweating, already locked in, already ahead. That's the ritual. You don't wait to be motivated. You move with intention. Before the doubt wakes up, before the world distracts you, you act. Your routine is your identity. It's your foundation. It's your fortress. Every breath, every step, every rep, it's a brick in the wall between you and failure. Don't underestimate it. Don't disrespect it. Your habits are the evidence of who you really are. You can say anything, but your rituals tell the truth. I visualized every day, not just the win, but the war. Not just the glory, but the grind. I saw the punches. I felt the pain. I walked through it in my mind before I ever stepped in the ring. That's why nothing surprised me. Because I rehearsed the storm. I rehearsed the silence. I rehearsed being alone, tired, doubted, and ready. That's mental training. That's psychological warfare. While others wasted energy chasing emotions, I was stacking repetitions, physical and mental. I had triggers, symbols, simple movements that flipped the switch. One breath, one phrase, one sound, and boom, I was on. No hesitation. That's what rituals do. They make performance automatic. They make excellence your default. It's not about grinding until you break. It's about training until you don't. It's about making your identity so strong, nothing can pull you back to weakness. And don't think rituals are just push-ups and sweat. They're gratitude. Discipline without humility turns into pride. Every day I gave thanks. Not because life was easy, but because I was still breathing, still swinging, still building. I respected the process. I bowed to the grind, because the grind gave me identity. Every bite of food, every drop of sweat, every step on the road, it all mattered. It all connected. It all aligned. Your rituals aren't just actions. They're agreements between you and your future. You don't skip them. You honor them, even when no one's watching. Especially then, because that's when the beast sharpens. In private, in quiet, in consistency. Don't complicate it. Get up early. Move your body. Still your mind. Train your focus. Speak to yourself like a king. Act like your future already exists, because it does. But only if your rituals prove it. If your routine doesn't scare the weak version of you, it's not strong enough. You want power? Build it daily. You want clarity? Earn it in repetition. You want discipline? Practice it when you don't feel like it, especially then, because that's where it grows. Every morning you move without excuse. That's sacred. Every night you reflect without shame. That's powerful. You're not just working. You're aligning. You're not just training. You're transforming. The beast isn't born in noise. He's built in discipline. And that discipline isn't punishment. It's prayer. A silent offering. A daily sacrifice that says, I will not be weak today. I will not forget who I am. I will not return to the man I used to be. My rituals are my armor. My rhythm is my weapon. My routine is my edge. I move with rhythm. I repeat with purpose. My routine is sacred. My discipline is divine. You made it here. That means something. It means you're not like the rest. You didn't quit halfway. You didn't flinch. You stayed. You endured. You listened. And now, you transform. Because this wasn't a speech. It was a reset. You were never soft. You were just surrounded by noise. You were never weak. You were just untrained. But now you know the truth. Everything you want, it already exists inside you. Discipline is the key, and you've held it all along. The man you were meant to be, he's not somewhere far away. He's in every decision you make when no one's watching. He's in the reps you do when you're tired. He's in the silence you choose when the world screams. He's in the mirror, waiting for you to commit. Every concept you heard, that's not motivation. That's identity. That's instruction. You don't get to return to comfort. Not now, not after this. You've seen too much. You felt the weight of your own power. And now, the world's not your enemy. Your old self is. You rise by killing hesitation. You rise by starving distraction. You rise by owning your edge and never giving it back. You're not built for average. You're not built to follow. You're built to lead, to dominate your own chaos, to bring order where others collapse. And you don't do it once, you do it daily. You do it when it hurts, when it's dark, when it's silent. That's who you are now. This is the version of you that won't break when tested. This is the version of you that doesn't need applause to stay consistent. This is the version of you that turns pain into power, routine into royalty, failure into fire. You speak with clarity. You move with precision. You wake with purpose. You're not hoping anymore. You're executing. You're not looking for signs. You're becoming the sign. The beast is awake. The war is daily. The crown is earned. You walk differently now. You breathe with intent. And when you fall, you don't ask why. You rise and whisper, again. I walk as the man I chose to become. I don't follow feeling. I follow purpose. So what now? Do you scroll back into softness? Or do you move forward as the weapon you were meant to be?